Alright guys, beautiful day here in the Midwest, and a lot of you have asked for a in-depth tour of the C10, asking questions about the LS Swap and stuff. Beautiful day here. I'm out enjoying the weather. Just got done driving the C10 for about an hour. Gonna try and post a video. Got the action camera, tried it out. I don't know how it's gonna sound, but we're gonna see how that looks. Let me give you that in-depth tour. I want to try and go through it as fast as possible, as detailed as possible, so hopefully you guys don't get bored and skip the video. Let's start that intro. Alright guys, first, front end. This is an 81, whoever's got the 85 quad over-under headlights. It is a 1500, however they re-badged it, so to speak, with the Silverado grill. This is all factory grill. Everything was just sanded down, painted black. I like the blacked out look, you know, plus it was in pretty rough shape, so did the blacked out look. Headlights. Those are 4x6 LEDs. The part here in the middle is running as a daytime running light on all four headlights. Got your lows, got your highs. These things will blind you. They're not too expensive. Well, I haven't priced them since COVID. I mean, I got them before COVID, but man, I'm telling you, they still look pretty good. You know, they're not super futuristic looking like some of these 4x6 LEDs, but man, they really light up the night. As far as exterior goes, sanded it down, shot in rattle can, primer black, came back, did a royal blue Rust-Oleum roll-on paint job. Very presentable, took a lot of time, it took very little paint because you're not spraying it in the air and stuff. Don't get me wrong, one day I might sand it all down, get a really good paint job on it, but for the Fotina look, I can polish it up. It's got a good shine to it. It's presentable. You get right up next to it, it definitely, you can tell it's a cheap paint job, but that's all right. Wheels and tires. I've got the factory 15x8 rallies all the way around. Tires, these are Turo AZ800s. 275/60 15s all the way around. You know, I was looking for a nice aggressive street tread. Hopefully I can get in here and get you a good shot of it. There you go. It's got a really nice street tread. They ride out good. They were a little hard to balance, I'm not going to lie there, but they finally did balance out all right. Man, I got them on a super steel from Walmart.com. Had them shipped in. Had a local shop put them on for me. But a Turo AZ800s all the way around. 275/60 15s on the factory 15x8 rallies. The rallies were sanded down, repainted, and they came out nice. Interior wise, got the factory door cards on both sides. When I first started, one was red, one was blue. That isn't going to work. Sanded them down lightly, hit them with some Black's interior paint. Man, this thing's filthy. Apologize for that. They came out all right. I mean, you could still tell in some spots where the sun has damaged the plastic, so to speak. But you know, they're still presentable. You get in and you know, they look all right. Got a tilt steering wheel, or a steering column rather. This one came out of the 90s, but it was the same length and everything. Everything fit in great. Dash pad, this one came out of a late 80s Suburban. She's still got some more cracks and stuff, but man, the one that was in here was maroon, and boy, was it rough. There was very little vinyl left. Eventually going to do some sort of a cap, or maybe fiberglass the other one. I kept the old one, maybe tear it off and fiberglass it. I don't know. We'll see what else. Whenever I was still running the 350, I put in all new gauges. Try and get that out of the way. I put in all new gauges. A lot of guys have asked what I did for gauges. The inside cluster's gone. Like, there's nothing left from the original. All of these are mechanical gauges. Hey, there we go. All of these are mechanical gauges. They're Equus 8000 series. So, like volts, that's pretty simple. Let's just run your wire up to your alternator and stuff to make sure you got your charging correct. The same wire from the factory harness, just make sure you get your 0 to 90. Ohm, that works perfectly fine. Oil pressure, that is actually the tube style. This is not coming off a digital signal. That's a tube running through the firewall. This is an C10 LS motor, so I was able to keep the factory gauge. I completely X-nayed the digital sender, the oil sending unit that's on the back, because the PCM doesn't read the oil pressure, and bought a little ICT adapter. Bam, I've got oil pressure. This thing reads phenomenal. Water is also mechanical. It does not run off the PCM. On the passenger side head, there's an open port, so I bought an adapter, stuck the mechanical fitting inside that. As soon as we jump to the motor, I will show you the adapter there. Tachometer and speedometer, obvious. This is a mechanical speedometer. You'll notice in my videos and stuff, it's not moving. I have not spent the $300 or whatever it is to convert the digital signal from the 4L80 to a mechanical signal. I will eventually, but man, $300 just to show my speed, I can't justify it right now, because I got the old cell phone, the old permanent, old school Android cell phone running an app, and you know, it works just fine to tell me my speed. This bezel was already chopped up whenever I got the truck, so I do got a Pioneer CD player, AM, FM, it works out fine. And for speakers, updated those. Let me slide out here. Built the MDF console, because I wanted to go with the floor shift, so I went with the MDF console. Added myself some rocker switches and stuff down bottom. One's for the daytime running lights, another one's for blue LEDs I got in the grill. You got your cigar ports, your USB ports, you got everything you need. Whenever I rebuilt the console, added 6.5s in the front, and I had plenty of room to do some 6x9s in the back. You know, it won't blow your eardrums out, but man, if you're on a long cruise going to a car show or something and you get tired of just hearing the open road, it is plenty good enough for me. I would say 9 out of 10 times when I'm driving this thing, the radio's off. You know, I just want to hear them 8 cylinders a humming. All right, guys, seats. Whenever this truck came originally to me, had a maroon bench seat in here. This was a non-tilt column, so it was straight, just like the position that it was. A lot of you guys in these C10s know that the bench seats come up to about here. That's about all the space I had to slide my legs in underneath it. Very uncomfortable. So, hit up my boneyards, made a custom bracket that mounts to the factory locations. The bars run across, there's provisions for it inside the center console. These bolt on to the bracket that I made. They came out of an 03 S10 is what they came out of. 03 S10. Little seats for a little truck, put them in the big truck. Now I have plenty of room. Well, you can see it's over 2 hands width, and that's straight. That's with the column perfectly straight. You put your column all the way up, I mean, you've got space for days. You've got probably 3 hand widths all the way across. Almost forgot with the center console. Whenever I first got the swap going, I needed something to shift it. So I scoured and talked to friends and picked up an old school B&M. It's actually a 3-speed shifter, 3-speed mega shifter. So I can only shift her down all the way to second and ratchet through if I want to. I'm looking at it to see if I can modify it to get it all the way down to first. B&M makes a 4-speed shifter, looks just like this, so it would take very little to swap it out. But they're like $300-400. I mean, everything costs so much these days. So I'm probably gonna hit the swap meets, keep my eye open for a 4-speed. But right now, park, reverse, neutral, drive. I could kick it down into third, so it doesn't knock into overdrive, and that's all I need for now. Keeps me out of trouble. That way I don't sit in first gear and just let her eat. But I think that's the whole interior, all the way across. I have replaced the front windshield. It was cracked really bad. Guys, anybody can do it. There's just a bead lock that runs across it. push forward, the whole glass comes out. Put your new one in. You do have to have a little tool to run that bead lock back in, but I just talked to friends and somebody had one sitting around. This was a slider in the back. Also picked up a flat glass out of the junkyard. I think the flat glass just looks a lot better. But I've actually got a couple extra sliders that I've picked up out of the junkyard, so in case this one ever takes a rock and gets busted or something, I can switch it out real fast. This is real easy. All you gotta do is get inside there, the whole bead, it just pushes right out. And then hop on YouTube if you ever need to replace your rear glass. Look up rear glass rope method. Put a thin piece of rope in there, get her tucked in where she starts, and then just pull that rope around and it just pulls that glass right in, guys. All right, what you been waiting for? This is an 03 LQ9 out of an Escalade. I have done nothing internally to the motor. It ran perfectly fine. I listened to it before I got it pulled. It ran great. There's no lift or tick. There's nothing going on. It sounded great. I think it had like 160,000 miles on it. No, I did not see the reason to break it completely down to stuff. This is my first swap. Didn't want to go down a rabbit hole of cam and everything else. That's gonna be later down the road. I plan on updating a few things. As far as front drive accessories, I mean, it's even still got the clutch fan on it. I did get the electric fans from the junkyard there this winter, so I am planning on switching those out. All truck accessories, everything fits just fine. And we'll switch on this side. I think I can see them better. As far as mounting, I use the ICT billet aluminum adapter plates. Okay, I got them from the furthest hole. I know a lot of guys say stick them on the furthest hole. That way it sits really close to the firewall. I kicked it one forward, and the reason why I kicked it one forward, that brought my fan just outside the shroud where it needed to be. Okay. For maximum cooling, that's where they say to put your shroud. That's where I moved it. I wasn't worried about drive shaft, because you're going to have to get a custom drive shaft or get lucky like I did and go through the junkyard bin and find one. So there it is. What I did do, I did splurge on exhaust. Those are Speed Engineering 1 3/4. I did not get the 1 7/8. I'm telling you what, they fit great. I have zero clearance issues. They tuck right up against the frame. I also have the Speed Engineering headers, or the Speed Engineering wires. I am not running boots on them. Like I said, I just drove for over an hour straight, giving her all types of love. I have no burn on any of the wires. I check them regularly. They fit great. They're made for the headers, guys. I suggest picking them up. Okay, as I was telling you about the temperature sensor, that's it right there. There's a provision that's not used in your passenger side head. Took that provision out. Got an ICT billet, aluminum adapter. Got the mechanical wire. It runs back up through the firewall. Works just fine. 4L80 trans, the dipstick. Man, I tried to maneuver it and get it to slide in there to where it would come up proper, but I couldn't get it and got frustrated and finally said screw it. You can get these on eBay, Amazon, wherever. They're flexible transmission dipstick tubes. Got one for the 4L80. It's kind of a pain in the butt getting it in and out sometimes. Kind of gets held up on that braided line, it seems like. But man, it works fine. And I could check my fluid and everything works out. It looks pretty good too. Cold air intake, junkyard special, guys. Junkyard special. Still running mass air. Works just fine. Slide over to this side. You'll probably see this guy hanging out here. Usually he's tucked up here, but he must have popped out. See, look at that. Now you don't see it. The Escalade uses Hydro Boost. I did not want to run the Hydro Boost. I had a powered brake booster laying around that I needed to put on anyways. So while I had everything out of the motor bay, put the powered brake booster on. You got two lines on a Hydro Boost. There are two returns. Just cap one off. That's my way of capping it off to make sure fluid don't spill all over the place. Might do better later on. Make it look a little better. That's what I did for now. Factory fuse box, self-explanatory. I thinned out the wiring harness. LT1swap.com. It'll be your friend. I'm telling you, it looks clean. I know it's big, I know it's ugly, but it works. It works just fine for me. I didn't have to spend any extra money or anything on a standalone harness. And eBay PCM. Did not buy HP tuners or anything. Bought this pre-tuned 6.0 4L80. Power enrichment turns on 75%. Torque management's turned off, so she feeds her all the onions as soon as you get into it and doesn't back out. It works great. I've had zero issues, but I've started doing my own tuning and stuff now. I'll call it tuning, you know, universal patch and LS droid and stuff. So I'm going to be playing with a few different ones. Trying to think anything else that I forgot. All factory radiator hoses, upper, lower, get them from your donor. They fit. Steam port provision. This was a big block radiator, so it had the heater connector on the bottom. So what I did, I got a piece of hose that fit here, got myself an adapter to knock it down to the steam port side. Steam port side runs right back into the factory. You know, I've seen some guys, you know, they make adapters that go in here to plug it in. You know, I could have done that. It would look fine. I see other guys where they tap the top of the water pump. You know, if you feel confident enough to do that, go for it. You know, I thought this was presentable and clean, and it works just fine. I also see some guys, you know, as long as your highest point of your coolant is at your pressure relief, you're good to go. So this is the highest point of my coolant's at my pressure relief. So my overflow comes right down. I use the factory overflow. It has worked just fine. I have zero cooling issues. Ignore all this little wiring mess here. That was the LED lights I put in the grill. That's going to get cleaned up, but yeah, it works just fine, guys. Hey guys, I'm going to try and show you the trans cross member and my fueling, but man, there's no way I want to get this thing up in the air and try and show you to you in a different day maybe, or something if you really ask. Fueling, real simple. It is just an 87 tank with the baffle. I got a 340 liter per hour fuel pump. Put it onto the 87 cylinder, ran all AN fittings all the way up. There's tons of videos, guys. Make sure you check them out. It's super easy. Get you an inline filter. You're good to go. Transmission cross member. It is not gonna show it. It's a double hump transmission cross member. Got it off of Amazon or somewhere. It was like $100. Fit fine. Gave me the provision to run true duals. They tuck up in there pretty decent. As you can see, there's the frame. Bam. They tuck up in there pretty nice. You know, your long tube headers stick down a little bit anyways. Plus these hangers, I need to bring these hangers up. It's got a little bit of a down slope. I don't have an H, I don't have an X. I got two duals all the way back, all the way to my junkyard resonators. It came off the 07 and up Tahoes and Suburbans and stuff. They cruise super loud. If you're looking for some neighbor haters or whatever, man, these do the exact same thing, and you can pick them up for next to nothing. They're super loud, but they get rid of all the rasp and stuff as soon as you're going down the road at 60 mile an hour. There's no drone, no nothing. You're just cruising right along, but as soon as you hit the throttle, it just wakes up, and man, everybody turns to see who's making all that noise. I did do the Blazer bumper in the back. Had the big step bumper from the factory. Get yourself a Blazer bumper from the 80s, early 90s. Fits in there real nice. There's actually a mod you can do to shorten the frame and the brackets and stuff, tuck it in nice and tight, but you know, I think that's fine for me. I think it looks much better than that big step bumper factory. Turns out real nice, matches the front one really good. Those are brand new lenses, just got them at Christmas. Gotta love it. Cleans up the back end really well. So there it is, guys. There's the walk around, quick overview of the LS Swap C10. That's how I did it. I mean, it's super easy. Anybody can do it. Get your hands dirty. You got any questions, hit me up. I'll try and answer them. There's 1,000 ways to do these. There's 1,000 parts and accessories and adapters, and man, you can go down a rabbit hole and spend 10 grand. I got 3 grand in the whole project. You know, I mean, it's kind of fun, but got like multiple generations going on here. It's pretty sweet, isn't it? We're gonna keep working on that red one. Gonna try and get that one back on the road. The old crew cab's running great. C10's running great, just ran it for about an hour. Thanks very much for stopping by. Max Boneyard Builds. It's summertime. Like I said, I got that action camera out. I'm gonna try and get that video pieced together. I'll probably post them about the same time. And thanks for stopping by.